Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Graduate Aspire 2022. Can you believe it's been 1 year since Graduate Aspire 2021? As usual, alhamdulillah, you're with me, Ben Ibrahim, your friendly moderator and MC. But this year, I've taken the MC hat, put the MC hat to the side and kept the virtual moderator because we're still keeping things safe in terms of virtual because of obviously the physical and health challenges that are not just around Malaysia, but around the world. We are all going through the same thing, but God bless for digital because we can have those conversations from our home, from our office, from a coffee shop, or from wherever we are around the world. And the best thing is, we'll be talking about that today. The topic is endemic work culture, but you're not going to hear it from me. You're going to hear it from 3 experts. You were supposed to hear it from 4 experts, but 1 expert, Nadia Tan Abdullah, who is the Chief Human Resources Officer of Setiala, said she cannot make it today. She sends her apologies, SPCTS, sorry, and she sends her apologies because of a very, very personal emergency. Nadia, hope everything's okay, and we look forward to catching up with you. And Nadia is almost like a rock star in the human resource world. She gives a lot of talks, not just in events, but on radio, with big radio stations, TV stations in multiple languages. And she is really a person who loves to share, and she's always gives her support to Graduate Aspire, trying to give back to all of you, which is mainly graduates, students, or people who really, really want to improve your respective careers. So I would like to introduce our panel in no particular order. Was this below me? Okay, not below me in terms of, was this a euphemistically, but below me literally or digitally is the one and only Noliana Rose Effendi, okay, aka Liana. Liana is the head of culture and people development at Bank Islam, a very dynamic organization. Actually, they're all 3 from a very, very dynamic organizations. We've got 2 bankers and 3 bankers. Oh my God, we've got 3 HR bankers. How about that? But they've all come from very, very diversified backgrounds. So Liana has worked in change management. She's worked in project management. She doesn't want to admit it, but she has a passion for DEX. Okay, so yes, she'll be talking about that a little bit later. And then we've got just physically or digitally below Liana is the very famous Liza Saha. She has a name like Siti Nurhaliza. So people might, please don't ask her for singing tips, ask her for career tips, because she said, I joined HR for a reason, not for song and dance, but to make the change, the positive change. So that's Liza there for you. And then at the bottom of the screen, and a person who has worked in change management, and also she's an engineer by qualification, is Victoria Kwek from M-Bank. So all these 3 wonderful ladies, even though they are from HR, even though they are from a major international bank, they all have very, very different backgrounds. They all deal with different personalities every day, who has demands as high as the sky and expectations as probably as realistic or unrealistic as we all like to talk about every day in the coffee shop. Hey, why isn't my organization doing this? My organization is doing this. There's no right or wrong answer because, as they say, how long is a piece of string? So we're going to answer that question in terms of the main topic, which is endemic work culture. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to start with Liza first, and then I'll go with Liana, and then I'll probably go a bit alphabetical. Liza, Liana, and then Victoria. So ladies, thank you so much for being with us. Same question to all 3 of you, but I'm going to get the sing at the start, which is Liza. So Liza, you can sing if you want, but tell us about, for the longest time, all of us, before pandemic, of course, have been asking, why can't we work from home? Why can't we be like the other markets in the world, like Europe and South America, and have that thing called flexibility or part-time work? Oh, susah lah, because our culture is this, our culture is that. We are very traditional. No such thing. Boom. The pandemic happened. Of course, such thing. So can you just recap what has this pandemic taught us in terms of, and reinforced to us in terms of how to work, and how's the smartest way to work?
All right. Thanks, Ben. Thanks so much again, Graduan, for having CMB in this panel. I think my thoughts are quite different because I came from background that prior to joining CIMB, I came from background where we practice what we call work from anywhere. So it doesn't really matter where you are, as long as you're connected, you have your gadgets or your laptops with you, there you go, you can actually function. But when you enter a financial institution, right, it's a highly regulated sector. So obviously there's going to be certain governance and compliance practices that need to be adhered to. So maybe conventionally, taking that into mind. So because of that, I think we always have this perception that when it comes to security, cybersecurity in particular, data protection. So because of that, somewhat it slows down the dynamic approach of really practicing working from anywhere. But but just like how you rightly pointed out, Ben, boom, COVID happens. So things that we thought that we can't do, we can actually do. And we did it actually quite well, particularly like in CIMB. So we managed to, in HR practices, somehow one of the things that my boss actually told me that somehow, Lisa, like you have a crystal ball, because we started our virtual onboarding for all the new hires in January. We didn't know that COVID is going to happen, but we started in January because we have the mindset whereby, because we are spread all over the country, so we want to make sure that our new hires get the same onboarding experience regardless where they are. So on Monday at 8:45, everywhere, whether you are going to be reporting for duty in Sabah or Johor or Penang or KL, and in KL itself, we have 6 buildings. So, you log in and you get the same information. So we were actually moving towards that already, just that COVID helped us to accelerate and also able to change the mindset and shift the thinking of certain people who may not be a believer. And when they actually done it, for close to 2 years, and many of us are still doing it, then they know things can actually happen. So that has been the experience that we went through since March 2020.
Right. So you had the crystal ball. So that's really, really good thing. But what about yourself, Liana? Was there a crystal ball when in your part of the world?
Yeah, actually, it's the same thing. In our case, we were lucky actually because we were kind of prepared to a certain extent, because just prior to the pandemic in 2020, early 2020, we implemented a flexible work arrangement in January, right? So in March, when COVID happened, so it's just accelerated the adoption. So it was easy for us, less change management. Yeah, because when we started, we piloted it with certain group, certain segment of the organization. So some were, were very positive, excited to onboard the journey. Some were, just wait and see what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to my colleagues and all that. Yeah. So when COVID happened, it's like a blessing in disguise. Everything fell into place nicely for us. Yeah. So from our experience, what we are seeing more positive impacts from adopting a flexible approach in our working culture. Yeah. Our employees are given flexibility to achieve better balance, work-life integration, and they actually can decide on work arrangement that suits their daily schedule. Yeah. So we empower them to decide to work from anywhere, including coffee shop. Ben, you mentioned this many times, right? Coffee shop and all that. So what we want to drive is actually to instill agile mindset and fluid work behaviors among our employees, aligned with our culture aspirations. Yeah.
Cool. And Victoria, what about yourself? I mean, in terms of the question, but also what's really interesting about your background, because you started in the client servicing business first, so you've seen a lot of mindsets and a lot of perceptions and attitudes towards certain things. So how was those attitudes and perceptions, during this shift of change of working culture?
Yeah, I think the lady has sort of summed it up really, really nicely. I mean, in consulting services, I came from a background of MNCs, right? I mean, I've worked with PwC, I've worked with Coty, where the working arrangement culture is part of the culture, is part of the DNA already for the company. So it wasn't really a problem, but is the client where we, deal with them, where we work with them on site. The preference has always been on-site working arrangement rather than off-site, because I guess is the Asian culture where people are still very much comfortable to see you, then they will equate you of seeing you that you're working. Yeah. So I can't say that I can't speak for MBank during the sort of the pandemic, seasons where we quickly jump into the working arrangement, because I just joined them in October last year. But what I can say is, coming to this organization, I feel that it's already part of the norm. So even now, the endemic side of things, everybody really prefers to have hybrid. I wouldn't say 100% working from home, because I guess we're human being bent, right? We still prefer to have some sort of interactions. So I think our company also is working on a policy. We're testing it out with a few businesses to see how we can sort of introduce different working arrangements, such as the hybrid or permanently at office, because of the nature of the work, like Lisa said, because of confidentiality and the nature of your job that deals with very sensitive information you're required to work on site. But otherwise, we want people to really embrace the working from home. And we find that actually, for our company, the data tells us, especially for contact center, right, the productivity actually increase when employee works from home. Yeah, there is a little downtime, and that's very encouraging when we see data like that, and it really gives us, HR practitioner, the confidence that people can really work from home without a productivity drop.
Right. No, it's really interesting that you say that, because studies have shown that, and I will not quote a big number out there because I don't have the Malaysian statistic or the accurate global statistics, because statistics can sometimes be very varied and subjective. But even though it's great to say that it's great to hear, that you said that, those numbers are up, people like this working environment, people love this flexibility. But the next question is it safe? Now, it's really funny that the question is about safety, because when I think safety, I think about the word she, and all of you are she and I'm a he. And I'm not thinking about she, lady. I'm thinking about SHE, safety, health, and environment. Yes, we can empower our people to work from home or wherever they are, maybe from their parents' house, or, while they're trying to help their brother, their sister, their parents, because parents are also aging. That's also a societal challenge. But safety, what happens if they get, God forbid, they get into an accident, there's something there, you can't physically help them. At least in the office, there's the first aid kit, there's access to a doctor, there's the security guard downstairs and all the above. Okay, so, and before I get one of you to answer this question, the way I'm going to approach this conversation is like a conversation. I'm not going to say, Liana, can you please talk first? Lisa, now it's your turn. Victoria, how do you think? I'm just going to put it out there. Whoever wants to answer it first, answer it. And whoever wants to disagree or agree, come in and let's have a chat. Okay, because this is a Saturday. Oh, obviously a virtual Saturday, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to put this question out there about safety, health, and environment. How do we keep the working environment safe if everything is virtual, which we cannot fully control? Who wants to have a go at this question first?
I give it a go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Liana or Lisa? Who said that first?
Yeah, Liana, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I think the definition of a safe working environment has changed. Yeah. In the past, safe working environment revolved around, health, safety policies, or OSHA. That's all. Yeah. Now, a safe working environment need to prioritize employee wellness, flexibility, and proactive employee engagement, because a structured employee wellness program is very important to be put in place. It provides employees with the resources to support their physical and mental and emotional well-being. Yeah, because as you said, Ben, hybrid employees or remote employees face high level of stress, daily juggling work, and domestic demands, and they may be also suffering with feelings of isolation. I'm not in office. I'm not visible to my boss. Yeah, so my boss, would assume that I, having my own time at home doing nothing. Yeah. So I think it's important for both employers nowadays to focus on mental health, also to establish mental health aiders among employees, because these people would be able to pick up on signs that their colleagues may be struggling, their peers and all that. And it's also key to carry out regular mental assessment. Talking about safety, another important aspect of safety, in my opinion, is psychological safety, which most companies or leaders are not really paying attention to, especially for remote workers, because to promote psychological safety, communication is key. Employees must feel that they are heard, they are included, so that they are confident enough to speak up, to ask questions, and to provide valuable input, even though through a virtual setting. So I think, but there are ways to tackle all these challenges that I mentioned just now. So leaders and supervisors can set clear expectations for timelines, for work output, so that they can have regular check with the employees if the work deliverables are met or not. So that's safety aspect from my perspective in today's world.
Fantastic. And Liana, I want to practice she right now. Can you just tilt your camera a little bit down so we can see your whole wonderful face? Because I'm accountable for she in this conversation. So there we go. There we have it right there. Perfecto. 10 out of 10. So, all right. Now that's a really, really good answer right there. I mean, Lisa, did you have something to say about this? Because I know you were quite passionate about wanting to say, okay, because you look like a person who likes to keep things safe.
I would rather, again, this is my opinion, I want to switch the word safety to conducive working environment.
Okay, what does that mean?
Meaning that to me it's more where you're more productive. Because I can tell you that particularly the young ones, many people thought that the young ones would prefer to work from home. Actually, some of my team members, they requested to come to office, mainly because some of them, they are renting rooms, so the internet connection is much more stable when it's in the office. And of course, many of them are, like what we call the social butterfly. It's like, I need to go and makan with someone. Again, touching a little bit on the mental health, I need to have some conversations. 100%. Yeah, because I remember, I think when it comes to this kind of a situation, when we were tested by COVID, it's also putting leadership approach to a test. How do you keep, how leaders can actually be creative in keeping your team engaged, making sure that you check on them without having for them to also feel that they're not being micromanaged, like you don't trust me, just because I'm at home, you don't trust me, because of that you keep on checking on me. So it's also quite a challenge for leaders, because you have to strike that balance. On the other hand, you might have this mindset that, I just wanted to make sure my team is safe. Like you mentioned, right? If suddenly, God forbid, they fall and, they are alone at home, how do we know? And if, let's say, something were to happen, so how do we know? So that regular checks, it becomes a routine, and we need to also be upfront with our team. The reason why we are doing this is not because that we don't trust you. We just need to make sure that you are safe, especially for those who are living alone, away from the family, particularly those, I put more attention to my team who are single, they are away from their family. So, there's no one there if something were to happen to them. So we put it up front, it's not that because we don't trust you, we just want to make sure that you're safe. So we have like this 5 to 10 minutes morning huddle to make sure that everyone is okay. Second part of it is to show a little bit of appreciation. So what we did encourage our leaders to do, have a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but have like good amount of virtual celebrations, when you have birthdays, we send cakes or goodies to the staff. So if you spread it, it doesn't have to be driven at the corporate level, but if you spread it, everybody take care of their under, the subordinates. I think that's when the things can actually be spread even better without having to wait for budget lah, coordination lah. It doesn't have to be like a big bang, right? Everybody has a part to play. And the third point, I think, where Liana was alluding to, the mental health bit. So we quickly actually entered partnership with Naluri. So sometimes, we don't know that maybe they don't have the comfort of speaking to their superiors or their supervisors, even their peers. Certain things can be very personal. So that's where we have a confidential, to make sure that we have a confidential platform whereby, if they need to speak to someone, they can assess their mental health via the app. We also did some what we call the, just for the for fun and to create more health, physical health, like a step, you count the steps and the top 10 will get some prizes. So everything was actually coordinated via the Naluri app. So I think, again, it's a test to creativity, not just to the organization, also to the leaders to keep their team engaged and safe and able to work in a conducive environment. Yeah.
And that's a really good point about conducive environment. Victoria, I mean, could you maybe further comment if you have any, like, in terms of how to make environments a bit more conducive and safe? Because, like, one thing that whenever during the last couple of years, I had this chat with a lot of HR friends, and we were just saying, do you guys? I asked the question. I said, do you guys do safety checks like how they do in the army? In the army, when people go on assignments and treks in the mountains, I mean, it might sound like a Hollywood scene, but it's not. They say, okay, let's go to checkpoint. We have to check in at 3:00. We are okay. We got to check in at 5:00. We are okay. Everything's okay. Nobody has tried to rob me because of nobody has tried to, like, the postman is the postman, the grab man is the grab man, and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I know it sounds a bit comical, but I mean, is this little like what both Liana and Lisa were saying, these little sympathetic gestures that really help actually increase the care factor of the employer-employee relationship. Victoria?
Yeah, exactly. Certainly very relevant. And yes, it's that little things and not too formals to make the employee actually feel that they are being micromanaged, but the little gesture that you get in touch with them, the huddles that you do. And also, I would like to throw in a point as well. The reason why we are not forcing and we're giving the flexibility for employee to choose whether they want to go for hybrid or permanently in office or permanently at home is because we do acknowledge some of the employee, because of certain issues, for example, the affordability. They probably stay in a very tiny apartments with 5 other kids. They just don't have the infrastructure and luxury like the rest of us to work from home. They will be super distracted by a lot of stuff, by the kids, and as a mother and probably a father as well, you're supposed to cook meals at home when you're working from home. So all these little things may distract them and also reduce the productivity. That's why hence the options for people, employee, to choose whether the type of working arrangement that they would prefer, it's very important. You can't force fit. There's no cookie cutter for everybody. Let's face it, right? So organization will need to give that flexibility to employee to choose the mode of working wherever, whenever, of course not with a certain boundaries, right? I mean, can't keep it free flow. But I think it goes down to the fundamental of trust and also giving them the comfort that the management trust you. And of course, we want you to continue to contribute and make sure your productivity is still maintained, even though you're working from home, for example. Yeah, so that's my view.
No, that's good. That's a really, really good point. And it's really good to hear and inspiring to hear on a wonderful Saturday afternoon that organizations are encouraging going that distance, because it's what I call the intangibles. Those phone calls, those WhatsApps, those FaceTimes. Are you okay? Do you need anything? And like, I mean, probably what now when Lisa was saying sending birthday cakes, now I know why so many people put on weight during COVID, because there was a birthday cake at the front door all the time. So yeah, so that's another reason, but all jokes aside. But this next question, everybody gets a chance to answer this one, because this is a bit of a sensitive question. And this is a question that we are all trying to figure out at the end of the day. Now, most of our viewers who are listening to this wonderful episode or wonderful content, and ladies doing a good job at the moment, all 3 of you, my 2, well, I don't know if you call it my favorite words, but my most touchy corporate words out there, and I have this chat about all the time with everyone. First point, visibility. Second point, promotion. You were all 3 of you were smirking when I said those 2 words, okay? Because I'm sure you can all connect to it in some shape or form. Look, our audience out there, highly educated, highly intelligent, highly ambitious. But you could be the best engineer, marketer, MBA graduate in the world, but if you don't know how to build trust with your boss, your subordinates, your peers, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. So these type of people who are quite good at, let's just call it cultivating relationships. That's a very diplomatic phrase, by the way. Okay. In terms of like, okay, I want to get promoted. Let's be honest. I don't have the stat again, but people get promoted because they win the trust game, not because the intelligence game. Okay, they win the trust game for whatever that is. Maybe they're very good at doing the PowerPoint presentation for the boss. Maybe they're doing very good at doing the analytics for the boss. Maybe they're doing very good at opening certain relationships and government doors that nobody can open, and the list goes on and on and on and on. But because you're working from home, you don't have that chance to go makan. You don't have that chance to go for a jog with the boss. You don't have a chance to, what else do people do? Maybe go karaoke, who knows? You don't have the chance to do all these unwritten things to build that visibility and trust with the bosses, which will lead to promotions. So Victoria, sorry to put you on the spot. I'm going to start with you first, and then I'm going to work my way up. Lisa, Liana. So Liana, you're very lucky. You have some time to think about this one. All right. So how do you do it in this virtual environment? How do you build those trusts when you don't have the luxury of going into the office? I mean, I'll be honest. Some people tell me is that, look, someone once told me is the best way to win trust is to go into the office at 7 o'clock in the morning, just to build that visibility that I'm a hard worker. I said, really? I said, maybe once upon a time that worked. But we are all working in a tough environment or environments. So people are a lot more, bosses and management are a lot more obsessed about outcome rather than visibility. Victoria, I'll start with you.
I would totally disagree that going to the office would give you, better
This was told to me by a very big CEO, so I'm not going to quote that name.
I talk to my colleagues, and whether it's my peers or big boss on a daily basis, even though I'm working from home, or even them working from home, but that doesn't sort of give me an extra advantage or give me this whatever, right? I don't see as being physically in office says that you are better productivity or better performing than other colleagues. Not sure whether you heard this, some people just go in just to take calls over meetings physically in office, which also it's like, it sparks a question mark, right? Why would you need to be physically in office just to sit in meeting room and take virtual calls? Like, it does not make sense, guys. So I really totally...
The Wi-Fi is better at the office.
So, and I guess, you have the free aircons. Yeah, but no, I think the trust and also the rapport that you have built over work give more substance and credibility to your work rather than the physical presence of you in the office, right? And I totally believe that because MNC has been doing that for the longest time, and nobody has an issues or statement about you need to be in office to be more visible. Of course, it's nice to have a small chats. Corridor chats, a bit of gossip, like to go for, lunch. It's nice, right? But that doesn't mean that, by working from home, you can't do that. You can always make time for dinners, Friday nights meet up. Why not, right? I mean, things are opening up. Go for a drink, go for a meal, something like that to just, just keep up with your peers. And that's what I do with my team as well. We all work from home, but we do see each other quite often. Our team will actually organize team lunch, dinner, just to make sure that everybody stay connected. And I'm sure for Lisa as well, because I see her posting a lot of her gatherings with her team on social media a lot. So yeah, I really don't think, and I strongly don't believe that by being physically in office will give you more advantage of being, promoted or being noticed. These are your thoughts.
Okay. Okay. And Lisa and Liana, feel free to disagree. Yeah, if this is a conversation that we're all just nodding our heads together, it's a pretty straightforward conversation. We're trying to go past the straightforwardness. We're trying to break the awkward conversations that nobody wants to have. So, Lisa, take it away.
I 100% agree with Vic, not because of, we are friends and we've known each other for quite some time, no. I've always been a strong proponent again, you should be where you are most productive, regardless whether is it in the office, because some people, they are more productive in the office than they can be in the office. I think that is not an issue. Some people, they are more productive at home. I personally am more productive at home because there's not much distraction. When you're in the office, sometimes your door is open and then people just drop by, and what's supposed to be 5 minutes conversation end up to become, like, Lisa, can I pick your brain for 5 minutes, and end up become 15 minutes conversation when you have other things to do. So again, it's where you are, you are most productive, regardless whether the location. Second point would be, we have a dynamic and robust performance management system whereby all the deliverables are agreed upfront at early start of the year. So there's no mention that, you need to meet your KPI by being in the office 70% of the time. No. It's more about you need to meet your deliverables regardless where you are. It doesn't really matter. Like in my position, is doing recruitment, the percentage of positions that we close, how fast can we close it? Are we, did we do any breach in terms of the governance and compliance while we try to close a position? So there's no specification that, it has to be specific to certain location. So number two, I think because maybe we have an advantage because we are a regional bank. We have presence in 16 countries. So because of that, this hybrid or flexible or digital or virtual, whichever that you want to call it, has always been a practice because, we need to stay connected to our peers or colleagues or bosses in other countries. Like I can't be having, meeting, trying to do manpower planning for CEO in Siam, Thailand, and I don't have to keep on flying there just to finalize things, right? I don't have to go to Philippines. I don't have to go to Indonesia. So that culture has already been built in. So we are already in that mindset. Don't tell me that my CEO, Datuk Rahman, has to, just to go and marah someone, one of his subordinates or his people who reports to him. He has to actually be physically present just to make sure that at least you feel my anger. It doesn't have to be that way. So we are already in that mode. Just that similar to I think what we mentioned in the earlier session, COVID helped to accelerate it and scale it. So those who may not be a believer now knows that it can actually be done. So that will be my thoughts. Ben, I think
I did the novice Zoom communication mistake right there. Someone like me should not be doing that, but I did. That goes to show you how human we all are. But Liana, tell us about the humans that you work with in terms of, because I'm sure all of you as HR people, professionals, should I say, you've seen it all in terms of, when you find out why a professional relationship works, why it doesn't work, that you get the most weirdest answers, like, oh, he or she was good at that, he or she was not so good at that. My expectation was this, their expectation was that. So, but where's the middle ground? How do you come to this middle ground in this virtual paradigm and environment that we're working in? Because who's to say this paradigm is forever?
Yep. But hybrid for us actually is going to stay here permanently. Yeah. So ethical for an organization to be fully ready with processes, infrastructure, framework to ensure hybrid work can be implemented effectively, including performance management system. Yeah. So like Lisa mentioned just now, I would like to echo her, mutual trust and clear communicating of your goals are very important. Set the expectations up front. Yeah. So at Bank Islam, what we do is we don't evaluate the performance of our employees based on where they are located, how long they clock in their working hours, but it's actually purely based on the work that they have produced and their achievements, which speaks volume, right? For the past 2 years, most of us work remotely, work from home. I see people still got their promotion, so it proves that it's not about visibility, it's all about accountability, trust, and empowerment that we give to our employees, that we somehow has elevated, trust, empowerment as a result of this pandemic. So we are still in the journey of creating a culture of outcome-based performance, while promoting inclusions with options to accommodate employees' diverse needs. So for hybrid work arrangement, we call it flex work. We have 4 categories, 4 personas of employees in the bank. Those recognized or tagged as residents. These are the people who deal with PNC documents, access to high security system, they need to be in the bank to work on site at all times. Yeah. So there are also another different extreme where people can work from home 5 days a week. So we give them, we educate them on, cybersecurity matters, and also how to work remote effectively, how to engage their supervisors, how to make sure that their team is well engaged, and do frequent check-ins and catch up with the team. Not just about work related matters, but most importantly beyond work, because this is where the real connection can happen. Yeah. Take it to the personal level. So all those are actually well documented or structured to enable our employees to work in this hybrid environment. Ben, you are
Done
still...
it again. My God, what's wrong with me? I'm trying. I pressed the mute button, so I don't want the clang of the pen to interrupt the nice voices and content that you're communicating. So I do apologize that, not just to our panel, but to our viewers as well. But to our viewers, you are coming in thick and fast with the questions. This panel is very famous at the moment. So there's questions thick and fast coming in. So I was just about to ask the question about how about people who are not ready for this flexible working environment where everything is about the cloud, everything is about this app and that app. WhatsApp is almost, no offense to the founders of WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is like, there's a lot of people trying to put WhatsApp out of business because there's always new apps coming out there in terms of communication, like Slack or whatever they may be. So, and these people are probably maybe hitting their late 40s, in their 50s, and they say, I can't keep up with this. It's just like the older, mature age student trying to go back to university to do a master's, but everything's so tech-based and they can't keep up. They say, I can't. I really, really can't. I've worked in the education sector. I still do, part-time. And they always say, this is difficult. It's not like the good old days where I could just write the essay according to Hughes et al. And God knows what. Because, I'm so used to going to the library, getting the book, reading, but now you got to extract this, you got to extract that, So I will get to that question a little bit later, but the questions are coming in pretty thick and fast at the moment. So if I could ask all of you to bring out your toolkit. When I say your toolkit, we spoke about this a bit before offline. Your toolkit is that we want to give our viewers who do ask the question specific tools in terms of the answer to their question so they can take it to the office on Monday, virtually or physically. So I will ask... This question is by, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at another device here, so I'm not looking away from you. So Aisha Osman, thank you for the question. How your life is... Okay, I think we've sort of answered that question a little bit. And I'm just going to retweak Aisha's question a little bit. And this probably leads to the question I was asking. And again, to all of you, how should... we try to, in terms of selling, because at the end of the day, when we're working with people, it's all about how you sell it. How should we sell it to our subordinate or colleague that, look, this is a great way to work? It's not something for everybody. Let's be honest, yeah? This way of working is not something for everybody. When I go to events like this and I have to go to a big room, which does not look as cool as blue and pink and navy blue, or with the KL Tower in the background, as you see, there's probably a bunch of dirty laundry in the background, or God knows, a pile of dirty dishes, or whatever. So this is not, this is like a sort of a hologram of where we're at. But how do we convince and sell to our peers who got maybe a negative mindset, a fixed mindset that this is tough, this is too susah, tak boleh lah. The good old Malaysian, not the good old, but it's the Malaysian problem. Tak boleh lah, so that means it can't be done. So the question I'm going here is, how do we break down that paradigm? Who wants to, and this is a good question by Aisha Osman, so who wants to take this first? All of you will have a go at it, or if you want to, but who wants to go first?
I can go, Ben. I think flexible work arrangement is obviously a new concept for everyone, yeah? So it is a culture change, like it or not. Yeah, so like other culture change, it must start at the top. Yeah, we have leaders to role model. We have their supervisors to role model, to show positive impact of working from home. We tackled from productivity, for example, that most people are saying that they are more productive. Their productivity level has gone up. So let me share the scenario before pandemic. Most people go to office, start in jam for hours. They have lunch, and then after lunch they have light chat over coffee. They have corridor talks. All those, everything in between, and still they cannot get their work done. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I just want to give you a perspective for comparison, because work from home can definitely cut down on commuting time and cost and less distraction. So these are the positive stories, or behaviors that you can slowly influence your peers or your colleagues who do not buy into this idea. So in all culture change or change initiative, there will be 20% of people who resist change. We focus our effort on the 80%, and the 20% will follow. So I think for HR practitioner, it's also important for us to support these people, to educate them on the benefit of remote working, and also to show good success stories, testimonials, and soon these people will give it a go. We give it a try. So
that's a good point, Liana, that you brought up. Educating, you got to educate the person, and you can't educate a person in 24 hours. You can't send them to a virtual course. It just doesn't happen like that. It does take a little bit of time, as cliche as that sounds. Ladies, I'm going to change it up a little bit, because there's something that you said in the last 10 minutes. 7 or 8 questions have come in. So Liana has taken that first question. So I won't ask the same question to the both of you. I'm just trying to share it up. So that's Aisha Osman's question answered by Liana. Victoria, I want you to take a stab at this question. And then this is from Joshua Faburada. Joshua, forgive me if I've butchered your name. I apologize, but no harm intended. And then Thea Aman, I'm going to get Lisa to answer Thea Aman's question. So we'll start with Joshua's question, and Victoria will answer this. All of you are working in the banking industry. And again, if you want to jump in, please jump in, but we'll start with Victoria first. How do you upskill people in terms of getting them to the next phase? Because upskilling of technical skills is quite a straightforward exercise, but upskilling of leadership skills, that's very subjective, and it does take more time. Victoria, your views.
Yeah, so upskilling in the era that we're in, where a lot of people are working from home, are actually made easier. We have a lot of platforms. It is made easier, actually, cool. And faster, right? And we are all, I'm not sure about other organizations, but at least for us, we are moving into self-paced learning, where we want the employee to actually take charge of their own learning careers. So we provide different learning experience, for example, Coursera, LinkedIn learning platforms for people to actually get on to the platforms and learn on their own pace. And there's huge amount of a wealth of sort of modules where people can actually sign up for, like, for example, data analytics, data scientists, machine learning are all there with very relevant assignments and stuff like that. But of course, when it comes to leadership training, we find it a little bit difficult, challenging, in the sense that a lot of time when we run leadership program in the past, during the pandemic, people tend to get fatigue, screen fatigue. Yeah. So we have blended learning experience when we are at the end of this pandemic. We introduce back the physical, but also blended, because we also want to be cautious to make sure there's no COVID being spread around when people are attending it physically. So we take extra precaution, like getting everybody to get tested before they come to class. Have different ways to make sure that people continue to learn in times like this, with different methods of learning experience.
Cool. Okay, thank you for answering that. That's a really, really good point. And this question here from, what's this? We had from Aisha, we had from Joshua, and Lisa's going to take this one. In terms of, this is from Thea. Iman, what is the challenge of transitioning into the endemic phase? Now, I want to rephrase that question that Thea has asked, Lisa. I mean, it's been 2 years since the pandemic started, March 2000. Okay, I don't think we'll be celebrating that like a public holiday anytime soon or ever. I don't think anybody wants to, but but some people might because because without these working environments, certain things would not have happened. Maybe certain promotions would not have happened. So, Lisa, I mean, I'm going to ask this to the panel a little bit later as well, but do we still? I mean, and one of you spoke about, Liana spoke about educating people. Lisa, do we still need to educate the generations of, oh, this is the way it's going to be? Or do we go another way about it?
To me, we have actually gone past the educating part. This is my opinion. It's been 2 years. And even before that, I think in CIMB specifically, we've been really trying to get more people on board to believe about the hybrid working arrangement, to make sure that the leaders in particular are ready in really implementing once this is being rolled out. But I want to, you are tweaking the question. I also want to tweak a bit on the answer, Ben. So to me, when this kind
Please do. It's all about flexibility, right?
so I think it's putting a test to creativity, particularly when it comes to engagement. Gone are the days whereby whenever we want to do team building, we have to actually make sure that everybody is present at some padang or some hotel or some resort, right? So when we were actually in the pandemic mode, when COVID happens, team building or engagement still need to happen. So this is when I can actually see so many creative new ideas in making sure that we get, we are always engaged. So we had like a mini scavenger hunt when we had our divisional meeting. We have a mini scavenger hunt at home. You're getting like weird. Okay, in 30 seconds, go and find like a red. I can still remember a red high heel shoe. So you go and rush, So it's actually putting a test to creativity. While I agree with Vic, screen fatigue is real. So because of that, we're trying to have lesser and lesser of webinars, because I think I remembered when we celebrated International Women's Day, consciously we didn't want to do webinars because everybody else is doing webinars. So we told our staff, you can just log into any other webinar. So we will engage and do things separately and differently when we want to engage our female employees during the International Women's Day. So it's really breaking the boundaries of things that we thought we are not capable of doing, putting creativity to a test, not just for the leaders, also for the team. I remembered we celebrated Hari Raya virtually, and we actually had this game whereby, lagu raya, you put it in English and then you have to guess ini lagu raya yang mana. So again, if you are in a very conventional non-COVID mode, we will continuously doing things the same way, like the suka neka, lari dalam guni, putting telur dekat dalam sudu. But when you are put in a different environment, that's when the agility, I really don't like to use the word agility, because I think it's overused, something is overkill. But
cliche.
Putting a test to your creativity and see how you can actually still manage to derive to the certain objective, in this case, engagement, but not necessarily the conventional way. So that would be my thoughts, yeah.
Okay.
Ben, can I add a bit on the education part?
Please.
I'm quite passionate when it comes to education, capability building. Yeah, because I believe that is one of the key levers to shift behaviors, nothing else. So education is a journey. So how we support people in Bank Islam, we have what we call as digital upskilling. We know that, like you mentioned just now, some people are just not really receptive to virtual working. Could be their fear is to use technology, as simple as Microsoft Teams. So that is where we introduce digital upskilling, because technology evolves rapidly, so it has to be on a continuous basis. So these people could be, be learning on basic Microsoft tools to facilitate or to make them feel comfortable to use digital tools that would really help them to engage in virtual world. So that is what we do at Bank Islam, and we run specific programs, specific capability program for other segment as well, tackling on touching on technical skills like the someone who asked just now, right? How do you support the technical skill capability, and also the soft skills part, the leadership part, all must come together lah in terms of capability building program.
Fantastic. And I do agree with you with everything that you just said right there, because it's what you just said right there is also respecting. Not every manager or leader would go through the trouble that you just spoke about, Liana and Lisa, to go down to the ground and really feel like, make that employee feel like they are the MVP, most valuable person. They are the VIP, a very important person, It's not all just about the bosses and managing upwards. It's about managing everything. I think I always like to say these days that everything is stakeholder management. When you're an employee of an organization, everybody's a stakeholder to you. You are the brand. You get out there, you select and implement that you are a good talent. You're really, really good superstar, flexible, sympathetic, but most importantly, get the job done, like Victoria said. So Victoria, do you have any points to add on to that question or your thoughts before we go to the next point?
Yeah, so I wanted to see the confidence bit there. How do we convince people that it's not already a converter, a believer of this hybrid working arrangement? I think really start looking at your own personal needs, right? What works for you as an employee as well? I mean, that's why we have organizations have different policies to support your own journey. Like drawing back to the example that I say, not everybody wants to work from home because the infrastructure is not there, and not everybody wants to work in office because they find themselves, like these, are more productive at home. So how do the organization sort of enable that? So that's the little things that we do in MBank as well. We're introducing flex benefits. For example, some of if you choose to go on a hybrid mode or permanently working from home, we give you tokens to buy furniture, for example, or chairs to help you to work from home. And these little things that we do, hopefully can actually convince employee that organizations have different tools to support your journey. And of course, if you are uncomfortable in mending the digital or, signing on different digital tools, we always have webinars to actually help you in terms of how to maneuver those digital tools. Yeah. So I think organizations are doing that a lot. And I always like to give an example, like my spouse organization. They did it so well when COVID hit, right? Immediately they sent furnitures and they give incentive for electricity and internet to enable workers to work from home. And I was like so jealous. I was like, this is such a brilliant idea. And it really shows to the employee that your organization genuinely care. And we want you to continue to be successful, even though we don't see you. And we want you to be productive at home as well. Yeah. So I think, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot more we can talk about, but in essence, I think that employer needs to give a lot of trust. An employee as well has to be responsible, that the organization have given you the trust, and you need to make sure you don't lose that trust when working from home, for example.
100% agree with you and everything that Liana and Lisa said. Look, what I'm going to do because of time, I'm just probably going to ask two more questions. One, I mean, there was some really good questions here from Daniel bin Alawi, Ding Tao Yip, Alvin Erickson, Muhammad Zaha bin Shamsul, Ashikin. I'm just going to take their question and sort of amalgamate it into one big question. One of the event attendees asked the question, how about performance management? But we spoke about that earlier in terms of I'll just sum up what the panel said, if you don't mind, panel. The panel said, keep it objective, keep the outcomes and the deliverables, really clear, communicate those deliverables, and really try to quash the culture that you have to come into the office to make a phone call or to use the aircon or maybe to drink the free Milo because, or the coffee, whatever, just really make it all about work. Yes, there is a quotient or quadrant that we do like that chemistry, whether it's like liking the same football team, liking the same masak-masak, but all that is the past. We have to move on and evolve to the future. And one of the questions was about evolution. So we have to evolve. So the panel has just said that very clear. So if you can take this to the office on Monday or Tuesday next week and have that conversation, let's keep everything as objective and non-people centric as possible. We've all most of us hopefully have won the trust game. Let's just work on that deliverable, that timeline, that project. And in the words of a great boss, just get it done. All right. So that's in terms of the performance outcome side. Now, we wouldn't be doing Graduan justice if we didn't ask this question. This one, definitely, I will go, individual by individual? Probably, Lisa, I'll start with you. Interviews, the magic eye question. Now, we're so used to wearing the suit, blazer and all, tight pants, not baggy uncle pants anymore. Okay. Wearing good perfume so you smell good. Having good fresh breath, looking as slick as anybody on Malaysian Idol or American Idol, and then really coming with a really good energy to really project that I'm your talent for your organization for at least the next, I used to say 10 years, but with this generation, I'll say 5. Okay, if that, or maybe 3, I don't know, but hopefully a bit more longer than that. So how do you impress someone and be memorable in a digital interview? What are the keywords? You don't want to sound fake. You don't want to sound cliche. You want to sound convincing. So who wants that? So Lisa, you go first, then probably Victoria, then Liana.
I think that question is quite interesting, actually, because
very.
Especially when we started our virtual interview, and actually even before COVID, we already had our virtual interview, because when we hire for our management training program, the Complete Banker and also the Complete Banker Digital, the applications, we don't only receive it for local students, we also receive it from students abroad. So typically, virtual is the way to go. So at least no one is deprived from the opportunity to be part of Team CIMB. So you can be studying in UUM, in Sinto, or in University of Kelantan, in Kota Baru, or even in Cambridge or Oxford in UK. So you will still get the same opportunity. So because we don't really practice, you have to be present just because you need to be, you need to be present. Then only you'll be considered. But one thing that I can say is a total turn off, particularly for me as a recruiter. When Ben, you mentioned about you're looking at the other screen because you wanted to read something. It's not because because you have to actually monitor the Q&A. So I think some graduates in particular may think that it's like cheated a bit. So they have another screen whereby they have, whether they Google it or they have like some talking points, but the eye contact, somewhat we lost eye contact. Maybe because again, new talent. You want to impress your interviewers. You want to actually make sure that you get good points. But these are the kind of things that don't usually happen when you have face-to-face interview, because we are very candid. We ask candid questions. We don't ask you how do you see yourself in 5 years' time. We don't do that anymore. So we usually ask scenario-based, and when it's a scenario-based, there's no right or wrong answer. So it's based on how you interpret your thought process. But some people, can actually be more too rehearsed, that it doesn't sound natural. So because of that, we are not able to gauge the kind of person you are. Because when we hire anyone, it's not just about being competent technically, having the experience and all that. We also give more emphasis on culture fit. You mentioned about, you want people to stay 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And typically that boils down to culture fit. Whether do you fit into the current working culture here in CIMB? So we can only gauge that if you are giving us truthful answer. Whatever it is, we want it to be a win-win situation. You get meaningful career experience with us. And we also get to keep you longer. So at least we also get, the engagement bit or the stickiness and the retention bit can be higher. But we will not be able to achieve that if the answer is too rehearsed or you keep on Googling. And sometimes maybe because you're not a professional yet, it's very obvious. You can see that, like you put your hand there and typing, trying to get the answer. Or maybe you are chatting or WhatsApping your Talian Hayat, trying to get some thoughts. But as a seasoned recruiter, we can actually see that. So to me, it's okay if you don't know the answer. It doesn't really matter. Just like in a physical interview, face-to-face interview, you can just say, I'm not too sure. But if you give me the opportunity to learn, I'm going to do my best and make sure that I'm going to be resourceful in getting the answer or getting the solutions that to your question. So something to the effect. Yeah. So I think that's one tip that I want to give, so that it is more like a natural conversation rather than too robotic or too Googling kind of gathering information. So that would be my point, Ben.
Yeah, where else? Sorry, Ben. I'd just like to come to Lisa's point, right? I mean, Lisa touched on all the being prepared. Basically, it's no difference from physical interviews, right? But I just want to remind everybody who are going or am going to an interview, please be, even though this is done virtually, right? Please be an environment where it is quiet. I come across some candidates, they take calls and when their kids are fighting on the background, or they take in the cafes where you can't really focus and have that conducive private conversation. And that's very disrupting to the entire interview session. So that's my number one. Please don't take it lightly just because it is a virtual sessions, and make sure you have a stable connection as well, because the most often things is that, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's like the most commonly said sentence in the past 2 years. Can you hear me? So please make sure in terms of your your environment, it is all good for you to have a conducive environment. But otherwise, in terms of tackling the interviews, just be yourself, be prepared, right? You will, every single interviews that you go, whether it's physical or virtual, you need to be prepared. Give examples on how you tackle certain problems, right? Those are the stories and the case that we want to hear when we conduct or lead you in asking some of the questions. Yeah. So yeah, that's my view.
No, it's really great, because you got a very balanced answer right there, because you got Lisa's answers who were very humanistic and moral and respectful, and Victoria's answers, which were very technical. And I think you were wearing, sounded like you were wearing your engineering hat there on there, Victoria. So I wrote down a checklist. There's 4 things that we put down based on both your answers. Eye contact. I probably, and ladies, I do apologize if I was looking at this, that, the other, but I'm an old school moderator. I'm writing down what you say on this piece of paper right here. I've got a screen right there with questions. I've got a screen right here with questions. That's why I brought this microphone right here. Not to make myself look good or make myself look like a radio presenter or whatever, but because sound is clear. This is a good tip here. If you have to invest in a microphone, that's the best thing I ever did. It was a bit expensive, but the sound is really, really clear. And once people can hear you, there's a good chance people want to hire you. So that's one tip from me, and also the ladies. So yeah, eye contact is imperative, but tell the truth. In this day and age, we can see all the BS out there. We know, we've heard it all. I mean, these ladies, HR professionals, have heard it all every day. Oh, the grandmother story, oh, the good old cliche answer, just tell the truth. And you know what? One HR person told me this story and said, my best superstar talent was hired because she answered almost every question, I don't know, in an interview. But she backed it up by saying, I don't know, but I have the attitude to find out to know. And because of that inquisitive personality, this person went very, very far in their career and is now a C-level in a big, big company. I won't say names, but that's an example of what Victoria and Lisa was saying. You don't have to sound like a Mr. or Mrs. Know-it-all. You don't have to have all these facts or sound bombastic or try to sound like a really subject matter expert, because at the end of the day, we're all still learning. So, Liana, do you want to add to the checklist of eye contact, tell the truth, quiet, and stable connection?
Yes. I think for the record, it's not easy to wow us. Yeah, we know who we want.
You are tough. Yeah. Okay, you're tough. I'll put there. Liana is tough. Okay.
We really know who we want. We want people who are bold, different. We look for unconventional pitch. Yeah, show us you have the courage to be different instead of just showing us your beautiful face on the screen. Yeah, that helps. But maybe you want to do a short video or TikTok, you call it, maybe to introduce yourself. Yeah, because our recruiters come to the interview with list of future traits and behaviors to match our culture. the future skills that we want, the future traits that we want in the bank. Yeah. But if you don't see that in you, sorry lah, even though you are like Deansley student, but we can't. You need to stand out. You need to stand out from the rest, because nowadays semua graduate pandai-pandai, for flat, SPM pun, 11As and all that. So you are competing with, I don't know how many, memang ramai. You need to stand out from the rest. You must imagine our life as a recruiter. We see the same CV over and over again. So you have to make our life easy. So I think that's my take.
Ben, if I can add on to that, one of the things before this, when before this pandemic situation, events like Graduate Aspire, I always tell the candidates or the graduates, it's like practicing in a football field. If there's 30 booths there, go and strike a conversation with all the 30 booths. It's okay if you don't know what they do, but you need to ask clever questions. So we're not going to ask you, do you know who is our board of director? No, we don't do that. During career fairs, when we have that kind of conversation. But what actually make us quite disappointed is like you drop your CV and then you run. When you actually have the chance to meet us face to face and have good conversation, and then we can actually set an impression. Because like what Liana mentioned, we get hundreds, if not thousands CVs, right? So then I can just say, I can put it at the back, this person actually shared about his experience doing volunteer work in Vietnam, teaching kids how to read. Please call for next interview. Because these are all the HR people in the booth. If you lose that kind of opportunity, then you are not sure if you are randomly just sending CVs, you're going to be in pile of applications that we get on daily basis. So similarly, events now is turned virtual, like Graduate Aspire, the 3 days event that we're going to be, or 4 days event that we're going to be conducting. So we have virtual booths. Make time to actually have good conversations. Things that you're not sure, like for example, what is the assessment process for the complete banker? How can I be more prepared? Is there any tips? Have conversations rather than apply here. You click apply here and then be done with it, and you wonder why CIMB never called me for interview, because the platforms are provided. So how do you want to actually take advantage and leverage on the platform given to you? Yeah.
No, and that's, Lisa, you know what, you summed it up that so nicely. And I think also Liana and Victoria said this indirectly, but at the end of the day, you can have the best tech, you can have the best WhatsApps, you can have the best this, you can have the best that, but nothing beats a human conversation. So if someone's in front of you, have that conversation. If you don't know where to start, hello is the best way to start. Hello, how are you? That's the best way to start, okay? So, ladies, unfortunately, we have coming to the tail end of our conversation. I don't want it to end, to be honest. I'd like this to continue, and the questions keep coming in thick and fast. To all our viewers, we do apologize, but you can write to the ladies. You can write to Graduan. The Graduan can connect you with these wonderful individuals by email, if that's okay. Okay, we won't give out phone numbers. I put that out there because I have had that question as a moderator over the years. People send me an Instagram message. Can I please have the phone number for Liana, Lisa, and Victoria? I said, even if I had it, I wouldn't give it to you. Okay, but I didn't say that lah. Okay, so that's privacy and safety and SHE. So the final question I have is, our topic today was it was about the endemic work culture. Now I'm going to give you all a challenge. I'm not going to say who's going to go first. I'll put it out there and say, who wants to go first? And I'll leave it to the sequential order of where we finish. I'll summarize, and then we'll have a wonderful goodbye, because it's been a great conversation. So the topic is endemic work culture. In 3 years' time, if you all had to write a book, what's the topic of that book in terms of the current work culture of that day? 3 years' time is late 2025, by the way. Okay, so I'll say to you, Q4 2025, if you had to write a book about the current working environment in the future, because now it's the endemic work culture, but is it going to be different? Is it going to be something else? What's the name of that book? And I'll give you each about 90 seconds to say the name of the book and your reasonings behind it to wrap up this awesome conversation. So, like a Malaysian school teacher, I'm going to say, who wants to
Okay,
go first?
I'll
Who
go
wants to go
first.
last?
So
Brave you
yeah,
are,
so that
Lisa.
suddenly, Liana don't take my idea, or Vic don't take my idea, so I go first.
Okay, Lisa has said it.
Come on. but not, it's
Take
not the most
notes.
creative. I'm not the most creative person, and my team knows that. So because of that, we have all the young ones to do all the catchy title. But if I were to write a book about the pandemic or endemic or hybrid working arrangement kind of situation, the title will be Present. Yeah, it doesn't really matter where you are. If you are in the office, make sure that you be present and deliver. If you're at home, be present and deliver. If you have to actually be in your hometown because you need to actually fulfill some of your family commitments, be present. And in fact, maybe next year, Graduate Aspire is going to be physical. Just be present.
Inshallah. God, I missed that.
Yeah. So regardless, just be present.
Yeah. Be present. Oh, well done. Well done, Lisa. You are the leading contender for the Ben Ibrahim shortest soundbite prize. So well done. So who wants to go next?
I can go next. I'll
Okay,
leave
Vic,
the best for last. I would say embrace it and continue to build trust and meaningful relationship, whether physically or virtually. Just that. Yeah. Whatever you do, continue to build trust and meaningful relationship and embrace it, whatever it may come to your way.
Okay, because you gave us such a long, inspiring sentence, I'm going to cut it down to embrace it, comma, or semicolon, trust. Quote, meaningful relationships by Victoria Quek. Okay, that's going to be a good book, by the way. Be Present is going to be a really good book too, as well. Looks like the author, the book publishers will have a nice problem to have in 3 years' time when all three of you are working on your books. Liana, what's your book?
It will be called Borderless Office or Borderless.
So we'll still be in. So in 3 years' time, we're still going to be in a borderless office.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think many people will complain about that one. Some people might. Who knows? It's very hard to please people. So why borderless office? Why that title?
Could be I can be in different country, still working for Bank Islam. Yeah.
Okay. Look, to everybody out there, we do miss. I mean, don't get us wrong. I can bet my bottom dollar, myself and the three speakers today, we all do still miss the good old graduate physical events where we get to talk to people. We get to laugh about the conversations we had with hungry talents, not so hungry talents who don't know their full potential yet. And I mean, all of the above, and the nice makan as well. And so that always goes hand in hand with a good conversation. But I mean, inshallah, he will come back. So I want you all to write this down. When I say all of you, like the viewers out there, you can put it in a hashtag. I love putting things in a hashtag because it's tech. Be present, embrace it, trust, meaningful relationships, and borderless office. That is the essence of this conversation with these three wonderful individuals. And I'd like to thank them once again, Victoria Quek, Siti Nurhaliza or Lisa Sahar. I had to say that. I love saying that name, Siti Nurhaliza, but we've got the real Lisa Sahar right here. And also we got Liana Rose, or AKA Liana. Very, very wonderful insights that you've all shared. And I've been around these conversations for a very, very long time in my career, my event and TV career. And today's conversation, probably arguably the most authentic conversation I've ever had with anybody. And you ladies were not looking at any screens. You were looking point blank at the camera and telling our audience to tell the truth, to embrace it, to be present, build those relationships, borderless office, and always strive for objective outcomes. Ladies, it's been a wonderful conversation. Please keep in touch. It's a small world. I don't want to see you at the next Graduate Aspire event next year. I do want to hopefully meet up with all of you and talk about HR, people management, and how's the best way to get outcomes and also joy out of people rather than despair, because that's also another topic. How do you control the despair motion? Because there are some people who have gone through some challenges, because they do find this working environment quite mafan a bit as well. Some people love it and have it think it's the bomb. Some people don't. Some people think it is a catastrophic bomb. But like all of three of you will experience every day in HR, it's so hard to please everybody. But today I can generally say you all have pleased our viewers in terms of giving them good content so they can take this to the office on Monday and Tuesday to become better leaders, better managers, better employees, and better people. So on behalf of Graduate Aspire 2022, thank you for your time, and we'll catch you at the next conversation. To all our viewers, stay safe, have a great weekend, and don't forget, we will be back over the next few days. We have a number of great conversations coming our way online. You can view it anywhere around the world, from the tree, from the mountain, from the house, from the workshop. But like Victoria said, try to do it in an environment which is a bit more quiet and where the Wi-Fi is stable. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe, take care, and Assalamualaikum. Don't forget, Graduate Aspire 2022.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ben.
Yes, bye-bye.
And